This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello and welcome. It's Friday, July 16th, and this is Orlando Sentinel Now. Today we're talking about who's moving to a new Disney regional hub and scooters in Orlando. Are they here to stay? Spoilers, they are. But more on that in a little bit. Joining me today, I have business reporter Austin Fuller and Orlando government reporter Ryan Gillespie. Thank you both so much for being here today. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Austin, coming to you first for one of your latest headlines. New Disney regional hub at Lake Nona in Orlando will house over 2,000 jobs relocating from California. Can you tell us more?
Sure, and that sums it up. Disney is opening a new hub in Lake Nona. They haven't said exactly where in Lake Nona. We'll have more than 2,000 workers. They're in the Disney Parks, Experiences and Products part of the company. They'll be asked to relocate from California to Orlando.
Do we know anything about the people moving from California over, like what kind of jobs or anything like that?
So these are professional jobs, again, in the Parks, Experiences and Products part of the company. According to the Orlando Economic Partnership, the average wage for these positions is $120,000 annually.
That's pretty nice. In regards to the actual Disney campus over at Lake Nona, what do we know about that?
We don't know exactly where in Lake Nona it's going to be, and we don't have a specific opening date, although the relocation of the jobs is expected to take place over the next 18 months, so sometime before the end of next year.
All right. Certainly more developments on that story to come, and we'll keep our eye on it. But if you want to take a look at Austin's work, it's available at orlandosentinel.com.
That has to happen at the city council level to keep them here permanently is an ordinance. An ordinance is essentially a law that is passed by a local government. It has to get voted on twice. This is the second vote. The first vote passed by a 6-1 margin. I would imagine the second vote will also pass by a 6-1 margin because it's incredibly rare for a vote to change from the first to the second reading of it. So I would expect by, evening on Monday, we will know for certain that scooters are here permanently with some changes.
Now, the story is interesting to me because we're actually seeing this conversation about scooters on a national level throughout many different urban areas. And while there does seem to be a strong popularity for them, it's not without its complaints. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you think about it. There's not, hard and fast data on who rides these scooters, but you generally know who's the type of person that's going to ride these scooters. They're probably somebody that's my age, your age, Austin's age. If you think of Orlando, they probably work downtown or they are a visitor to downtown and are maybe going from basically establishment to establishment. So whether they're going from like a bar downtown to a restaurant in Thornton Park, or maybe just bar hopping, or going from a show at the Dr. Phillips Center to, just back to their apartment in another part of downtown. These are short trips downtown. There's a lot of people who use them to supplement transit as well. So maybe from train station to work, or bus stop to train station. And so you've got an appetite for them in that crowd. But you also have people maybe in a different demographic and in wage scale and things like that own homes nearby, who maybe don't like them because they get left in their driveway or they get left on a sidewalk. So you kind of got these different groups of people. So there is a bit of a tension. But at the same time, when you're a city that kind of lacks the transportation network of others, when you think of like Atlantas of the world and things like that have these robust bus and train networks that Orlando just doesn't have, these are a valuable option to get around town.
Ryan, you spoke to some folks who addressed the fact that they were happy that these scooters seem to be staying, but acknowledge that there are some cons to having them around. But they offered some suggestions to perhaps improve on some of these complaints in the city. What were they saying?
Yeah, what we're really trying to do here is dive into the users of these scooters and really what they think about, essentially their own transportation. The general feedback from everybody we spoke to was these are fine, but I don't like riding them on the sidewalk because I don't want to, hit a crack on the sidewalk and break a wrist like one person we spoke to, or I don't want to feel like I'm mowing down pedestrians or weaving through them. But I also don't want to ride them on the road because I'm smaller than traffic and slower than traffic, and our body of work as Floridians and as drivers isn't the best. So a lot of talk about we need more consistent bike lanes, protected bike lanes potentially, that both would help cyclists in the downtown area and also scooter riders. So I think that's a main thing. One change that seemed to be universally applauded by critics of the scooter program, like City Commissioner Patty Sheehan, and riders, is the intent of the city is to limit the number of companies that can have scooters here. Right now there's 5. There has been as many, I think, as 7 at its peak, which means if you rely on these scooters and you need to find them consistently, you probably need to have 5 apps on your phone, which that's a lot of places to have your credit card. So I think there was universal applause from the people I spoke to of the city's plan to limit these to, probably no more than 3 companies, potentially even less than that, but also still having the same number of scooters on the road. So you might have more scooters of a single company, but not any additional clutter as critics would refer to it.
It's pretty valid and interesting thoughts there. If you guys are interested in expanding on that, take a look at Ryan's work at orlandosentinel.com, where, of course, you can find a whole bunch of other news. Keep up to date at orlandosentinel.com. And for those of you who are subscribers, thank you so much for continuing to support our work and supporting local journalism. If you want to become a subscriber, it's easy to do so. All you need to do is visit orlandosentinel.com/subscribe. But as for OSN, that is it for us today. That is it for us for the week. But a big thank you for Austin and Ryan for keeping us informed in what's going on in our hometown. We'll be back again with more news next week. We'll see you then. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Watch Orlando Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on orlandosentinel.com.